Hey everyone, welcome to Data Millennials. I'm Atul, and in this video we are going to discuss how we can apply or use case statement in calculated field in Looker or Google Data Studio in order to evaluate a parameter. So as you can see over here that we have excellent, above average, very good, good and poor column. And this table contains category, and against these category we have these columns which is basically coming from the sales target column. But if I'll show you my raw data, then you can see over here that we do not have any sales target column, and we were able to create this sales target column based on the evaluation of parameter using case statement in Looker. So a common use of case statement is to evaluate the parameter and see whether the condition is met or not. So for example, we can set a sales target parameter. So for example, we can set a sales target parameter using this raw data, and we can adjust it to see whether the orders met the target or not using the case statement in this report. So in this video, we will be creating this table, and then we are going to apply or use the case statement in calculated field from scratch so that you can get the idea that how you can apply case statement to evaluate a parameter. Before we use this case function, let's understand about this case function using the syntax that I have over here. So in order to use a case statement, you have to give certain conditions, and in order to give conditions, you have to use the case keyword first, which I have given over here. So you will use the case keyword, then you will give multiple condition or a single condition based on your requirement using the when keyword. Now when you have given the when keyword, then you can list down the conditions and the result set. And at last you have a else statement which basically gives the default output when none of these conditions met. And at last we give the end statement saying that at this point or at this line the case statement ends over here. Okay, so let's recap that what is the requirement. So we have to create a sales target, and we have to reflect whether for each category what was the sales within the a specific bucket or a segment, saying that whether the sales was excellent, above average, very good, good or poor. And this grouping or categorization can be created based on certain conditions, and I have the condition over here where it says that if the quantity sold is less than or equal to 100, then we have to give it poor. If quantity sold is less than 250, then we have to give good. Now if we have to give sold quantity is less than 500, it's above average. If it is less than or equal to 750, then it's very good, and anything above 750 is excellent, right? So this 100, 200, 500 is a condition that we have to evaluate using this sold quantity value which is in our raw data. Okay, so in order to apply that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this edit button first, and I'm going to add a new page. In this page I am just gonna copy this header and put it over here. Now whenever you start creating a report, you have to import a raw data. Suppose if you have not imported your raw data, then what you can do is that you can click on add data, and wherever your data resides you can select the connector from here and you can import your data in your report. Once you have imported your data, then what you can do is that you have to create or insert a new table over here. And to be very specific, over here we had this pivot table. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to insert a simple pivot table over here in this page, and to add a pivot table you have to click on add a chart, then you come down and you can select any of these three pivot table, but I'm going to select the simple pivot table. And the moment you will click on pivot table, you will see that Looker will allow you to add that pivot table in your empty canvas. And when your table is start reflecting on your page, you will see that Looker has selected certain default data sources. In your setup section you can see the data source and certain row dimension or column dimension over here. Now in your setup section you can change your data source by clicking on it and select any of the data source from here. Now as per our requirement, we have to take these certain conditions that we have over here, okay, and we need to create a new column and use it in this table. So there are two ways to create a column or a calculated column. The first one is that you can come over here in your metric and click on add a metric and create a field, and you can create a calculated metric or a column over here. The another way is that you can come over here in your data section, you can click on add a field and you can create a field over here which is calculated field. The only difference over here is that when you create a calculated field or a metric, then that specific calculated field or metric is specifically used for that visualization widget. You cannot use that calculated metric or field in other visualization widget. But if you create a calculated field, you can use that calculated field in any number of visualization widget which is present in your report. So I'm going to create a new field over here as a calculated field. I'll click on add a field, then I have to give the name. So I'm just going to give the name as new region underscore version 1, and I have to give the case statement over here saying that case when quantity sold is less than equal to 100, then put the grouping as poor. I'm just going to copy this line and put it again and again. Okay, now the next condition that I'm going to put is that if the quantity is less than equal to 250, then we have to give the grouping as good. Next condition will be if quantity sold is less than equal to 500, then the grouping will be above average. The another condition is that if the quantity sold is less than equal to 750, then it's very good. Now I'm just going to give a default output for this case statement, which will be else put the value as excellent, and then I'm going to end this case statement. So with the help of this case statement, what we did was that we are going to evaluate a parameter which is quantity sold over here. So our parameter is quantity sold and we are evaluating it based on this operator greater than or less than equal to. So I am using over here less than. So the condition flows something like this, that if quantity sold is less than 100, then poor, less than 250, good, less than 500, above average, less than 750, very good. Now you might think that why I have used less than over here. So if a certain quantity sold is less than 500, it is less than 500, then it can be poor or good also. But if you see the flow of this logic, then what will happen is that suppose if a quantity is 450, okay, then what will happen on that particular row, the quantity sold is less than 100, this condition doesn't get fulfilled, then it will go to this line saying that if quantity is less than 400 or 450, no, it is not true, so this will not get executed. So the next it will go to this line where it says that if quantity is less than 500, so yes, our quantity is less than 500 because our quantity is 400 or 450, so it will say above average. And then if the quantity is greater than 750, which will go to the default value where we have written else as excellent, then it will mark it as excellent. Okay, so the condition is getting evaluated line by line the way you had written over here. Whatever logic that you will be writing it over here in the conditions, it will get evaluated, and based on the condition fulfillment, the status will be applied or the grouping will be applied. Okay, now what you have to do is that you have to click on save and then you have to click on finish. The moment you will click on finish, you will see that you have a new column over here saying that new region version 1, and you can use this new region version 1 in your column dimension. Okay, let me increase the size of this. Now you have all of those conditions evaluated, and based on the evaluation you have the status saying that excellent, above average, very good, good and poor, and this record count. So right now we have record count in metrics. So instead of this record count, what we are going to do is that we are going to take this quantity sold and put it over here, and you will see that these numbers look similar to these numbers that we have over here. So this is how basically you can evaluate a parameter in Looker or Google Data Studio using the case statement. Happy learning and see you in the next video.